Good evening, everybody. I'm Michael Kuzilny. Tough times never last, but tough people do. Thank you very much for the pleasure of your company. We've got a beautiful soul on the couch, Kathy Stavaji. She's got a beautiful heart. She's gone through lots of tough times, but she's now on the other side, and she's got some great advice for us. Kathy, thanks for coming on. You're a mother of 5.
Yes.
You started early.
I did start early. I have 5 kids.
Yeah.
13, 11, 8, 9 and 6.
Yeah. And how was COVID for you? Yeah.
It wasn't too bad. There was they suffered not being able to see the family. We're very close to our family. But it was good family bonding time. We just sort of made the best of a bad situation.
I was so impressed when I met you. You've got a great attitude and you've gone through some difficult times. We all do. But December 2017, young Gabriel, one of your sons, gets diagnosed with leukemia. As a result of that, you then go through a relationship breakup after 10 years. You relocate and you're still smiling, but difficult times. Tell me, in 2017 December, what were the symptoms?
Okay, so it was lots of little symptoms, and they were sort of just brushed aside as single, non-related things. So he had some bone aches, which at that age you think is growing pain. He had a strange cough that sounded like croup, that lasted for a long time, on and off high fevers, 40-degree fevers, and just really tired. And bruising, a lot of bruising. He had just gotten a scooter, and his legs were covered in these very strange, dark brown bruises. But it was a lot of fatigue, and the thing that really got me was the change in colour and the weight loss he had.
So you then went to a medical practitioner and then to I suppose a specialist. Is that what happened?
Yes, we got blood tests and stool tests at 8:30 in the morning, and I had a call at 4:30 saying you need to get to Monash Medical Emergency. They're expecting you. Gabriel has leukemia, and it was,
And I suppose our minds think, God, because we're not. We hear about these life-threatening diseases, but we don't quite know where it's going to end up. So you and your husband then spoke to the doctors, and what did they say?
They basically said it's T-cell leukemia, which is the most aggressive. He had a mass in his lungs, taking up 50% of his lung capacity, and they said it's 90% success rate. It's 3.5 years chemotherapy, and we need to start immediately. So we were in ICU for 5 days and then a 2-week stint in hospital.
ICU?
Yeah, because he had, I think, a 90% leukemia in his blood. It was extremely high.
Bless you. Isn't that amazing, viewers? What a courageous and heroic lady this is, Kathy Stavaji. December 2017, and then of course the 10-year marriage fell apart because when there's challenges, we can either let them overwhelm us or get on top of things. But it sounds like your partner maybe didn't get on top of it.
No, he was drinking a lot, and I think when tragedy strikes,
yes,
you kind of band together and you get behind the sick people, and your best attributes can be magnified, also your worst.
That's a good way of putting it.
And so we had everyone banding together, and you do what you need to do. Only, unfortunately, my ex-husband was getting worse. All the traits of the controlling and narcissistic behaviours would just be getting magnified, and it was, I need to focus on getting my son well.
Indeed.
I cannot put you first. And unfortunately it had to come down to we tried for 1.5 years to get it working.
And there's a lot of people go through the same thing, and these are very important lessons, aren't they, that we have to stick together. And of course then when the marriage falls apart, then of course then there's that was even more stressful for you, because then there's intervention orders and counselling and so you've done a wonderful job, Kathy Stavaji, doing keeping it all together, and then of course you moved from the home to another home?
Yes, we moved.
Yeah.
We moved out to the country just to get the kids a better lifestyle, especially in COVID, just to have open space and things like that. And it's amazing when you kind of fight to keep your family together because you believe that's the best thing for the kids. And then you get to a point where you're like, no, this is not healthy. And you just see the kids blossom. It really affirms that you've done the right thing. And in the past 12 months, just to see them all, coming out of their shells and really bonding together as a family.
That's beautiful.
Yeah, it is. You can.
So it would have been tough on them, but also on you because, God, you're looking after the whole troops and also, coping with this marriage split up. So, you're a good captain.
Well, I've got good kids and I have an amazing family. All my family are really supportive.
And COVID, amazing. It was just like the Kathy camp, you and the kids running around dancing. You saying laughter is important, isn't it?
It's a huge thing, and we don't take. Well, I definitely don't take myself too seriously, and we just we put music on, we clean up, we just laugh, and I think that's
right.
One of the charities for the kids with cancer is laughter is the best medicine, and it really truly is. If you can just get together as a family and just muck around. Just kind of, it lightens things, just.
So a lot of viewers probably don't know when a child has chemo, they go to the children's hospital, do they?
Yes. So you do, for the first 12 months, you're pretty much living there. It's a 3.5 year stint. Yeah, you're in a lot. And then it backs off and it's.
That's 3.5 years. That's right. We couldn't even imagine that, can't we? So you're there, first intensive care for how long, Kathy?
For 5 days.
Right.
They had to give him intensive steroids to shrink the mass in his lungs because they said we can't operate because they had to operate.
That's amazing. Yeah. We might talk about all those wonderful doctors and nurses that you got to know because you probably did. But thank you so much for joining us. And viewers, thank you very much for the pleasure of your company. God bless you. Hi, I'm Michael Kuzilny. Love and best wishes to you wherever you're watching from around Australia or maybe around the world on the internet. We all go through difficult times. I always say that life comes with 10,000 joys and 10,000 sorrows. Some people get on top of their problems and unfortunately other people aren't so lucky and some even decide to have an early departure and take their lives. But Kathy Stavagi's on the couch. What a beautiful soul, authentic, cheerful and she's got some great advice about going through the challenges of life. A single mother of 5, her son, he was 8 at the time, got diagnosed with leukemia, and her relationship, her marriage fell apart. Kathy, the Children's Hospital at Monash must be a great team of people.
Oh, everyone there is amazing. The specialists, the nurses, you get to know them. They pretty much become your hospital family. But it was the things they have there for the siblings as well as the patients amazing. So there were days and weeks at a time where my other children were dropped off at 7 a.m. and had to be there all day and then picked up at 7 p.m. and we were able to, because they have things like the Ronald McDonald room and the Starlight room, we were able to get out of the hospital room and spend time on a couch in front of a TV or at a dinner table or playing video games. And it just helps keep the whole family sane because the kids can be there with mum and with the sibling who obviously is feeling it. And
so after intensive care, that was there as well, yeah?
Intensive care was just intensive care.
And that was at the same hospital?
Yes, different.
You then, the whole journey then took over 3 years?
Yes, 3.5 years, start to finish.
Amazing. And is there was the same staff or different staff? You got to know them all?
Pretty much, you have like the solid crew that are there, and you have your favourite nurses, and he had his specialist, which he sees every time you have the appointment, and the nurses.
So they always give you feedback. I suppose you're always asking questions, and they.
Yeah, and they're so good.
Yeah,
they give you the time to ask the questions, and
amazing. So, So initially you spent a lot of time there.
Yes, there's different phases of treatment. So there was some where it was 5 days in, 10 days out, 5 days in, 10 days out. Others where it would be, okay, we're not supposed to be in for 2 weeks, but he's had a fever and you have to admit to ED, 10, 12 at night.
And we're talking about the system. Tell me about the great little man, little Gabriel, is it?
Yes,
he was
Gabriel.
8 at the time. He was feeling a bit tired. And how did he sort of handle the whole challenge?
I think kids that age will look to you to see if you're worried or if you're devastated or whatever. So I remember my family thinking it was really weird. I called them on the way to the hospital because we went straight to ED, and I'm like, hi, had them on speaker. Gabe was with me. Yeah, we're just going to ED. Gabe has leukemia. And they're all like, what's going on? Why are you speaking like that? I'm like, we're on speaker. Gabe's in the car. And he was never worried. He was just like, oh, okay. Well, and he's like, Mum, I'm going to get better. I'm like, yes, you are. We're going there because they're going to make you better. And so having that front kind of, or just being that strength and having the confidence, and the doctors immediately instilled that into Gabe. And so he didn't have that fear. He did have a couple of down times when the treatment was quite strong, just said, Mum, and this is something you never want to hear from a child, is, Mum, I think I would have rather had not survived. This is too hard. And that is that, because all you ever want to do is take your kid's pain.
He'd be a tough little fellow, little Gabe, wouldn't he? At 8, going through all that. And Christmas time, yeah, so he would spend his Christmas at the hospital.
We did. We got out Boxing Day to come home, but yeah, his first Christmas was there.
So God looked after him, you know. I always say, put God first, fear not, and that's what Kathy said. She said, you know, once you show gratitude, and makes a big difference. And I'm sure a lot of our viewers agree. Whoever your God is, you know, if we surrender it all and know that you know, there's a higher power that can.
Yeah, when you know that there's a control or there's a purpose, even in the bad times, you can say, okay, well, no, I know something better is going to come. There's light at the end of the tunnel.
There can be beauty in the messiness of life, and yeah, what an amazing journey. And then, of course, you're trying to control the relationships. You're just going down the flow, and probably didn't have much time to take care of yourself.
No, not in the first 12 months. It was kids in hospital and kids in hospital, and that's all it was.
All the waxing and stuff and facials. Did you have anything like that?
No, my hair grew out. I have natural hair color. But you know what? It is your life. You don't, in that first 12 months, it's not. But
you're a beautiful mother. A great person. You really are. COVID, how did you, so you moved to another area, and how did you then, was COVID any different for you?
It was, okay, so when you're immunocompromised, a cold will send you to ED.
Okay.
So we were pretty isolated pre-COVID. We were only really seeing our immediate family, and that was if they didn't have a cold.
Okay.
So it wasn't too bad. The immediate family having to stay distant during the lockdown was hard on the kids, but
Certainly.
All of the social aspects pretty much went on hold because we decided as a family that it was better to not do that and not have us in ED and in hospital.
Of course.
Yeah.
Kathy was saying on the break, Easter Sundays when Gabe's chemo treatment finished, which now gives her a lot more freedom. Yeah, God bless you, darling. It's Easter Sunday, was it?
Easter Sunday,
Yeah.
and I did say to Gabe, I said, if you're looking for a promise, we always speak positive. It's never coming back. And I said, but Easter Sunday is a symbol of new life. And I said, how is it that your very last chemo was on the day that symbolizes new life?
Yeah.
So he was so tickled at that. He's like, Mum, this is my new life. And I said, this is day one of the rest of your life. No more chemo.
So a lot more freedom for Gabe, a lot more freedom for you.
Yeah, and we can see family and friends again. It's
amazing. Congratulations! What a great time for you to come and talk to us. We'll be back very shortly with this amazing. Kathy Stavaji is on the couch. What a beautiful soul. A mother of 5 and went through a difficult marriage breakup after 10 years. And of course, young Gabe was diagnosed with leukemia, one of the most aggressive types, in December 2017 when he was 8. But she's on the other side of pain and getting through it, Kathy.
Yeah, it's been a really long journey, but I think also self-discovery and strengthening and just learning to find the joy in the small things, you know?
Yeah. But there's so many people stuck with in controlling or shit relationships, you know? And this is important, and we think this is good enough, but it's not. Life is short. So it must have been a difficult decision when you decided, no, this is not for me.
Yeah, it's difficult, and it's quite upsetting to realize that you've spent so long on such a toxic relationship, and you can be quite hard on yourself. But you also need to understand it's better late than never.
Yes.
You know, I could spend 10 more years here and see my children affected and see my family continue to isolate and just be alone. Or I can say, all right, well, yes, I was silly enough to spend 10 years here, but it stops now.
It stops now. That's a very disciplined and courageous decision. And then, of course, to take an intervention order, it must have, got pretty intense. And I think they're a terrific idea for people who don't understand, you know. I mean, a lot of relationships split up, and unfortunately sometimes they just, people just grow apart, you know, but I always find it difficult to understand that a person can never let go and they keep on harassing, you know, sometimes even resorting to violence, and people are forced to take an intervention order at AVO. And a lot of them breach it until the police come and knock on your door and they say, we can lock you up for up to 2 years. So I think that happened in your case. There was a breach and message sent, message received, and then it stopped.
Yes. And then the police did go and serve him and said, you're being fined, and we will, if it happens again, we'll prosecute and you'll be locked up. And that was enough to I think, put him in line. But I think people, when you've been in a relationship, people think you have to put up with the bombardment of text messages, that you have to accept the fact that they can't let go, and you live in a constant state of heightened anxiety, and you don't. There's so many resources and intervention orders, and if it doesn't have to come to that, it doesn't. But you need to free yourself, especially if you're suffering and you're in that fight or flight constantly. Because you'll end up.
So a lot of people stay in these toxic relationships, and a lot of people can't be by themselves. And I know I used to be like that for many years until I sort of finally checked in with myself and made friends with myself. I thought, okay, I'm okay. Do you know what I mean? But we've got to, being by ourselves can be lonely, but it's amazing once we do find ourselves, isn't it? And you become a lot more wholesome, don't you?
Yeah, and it's just about finding contentment in being alone and being, this is me.
This is
me.
me.
And I can now, and to look at the positives of that, I just thought, well, you know what, now's my time to invest in myself. I spent 10 years investing into one person, and I had my children, but, you know, that sort of relationship, and invest into my kids. And when you can say, you know what, I'm going to spend this weekend investing in me.
So, Kathy, all that time at the Children's Hospital, God bless all those doctors and nurses and medical staff who are looking after all those children. Amazing. And have you had some fun since then? Did you ever get a babysitter and say, hey, I'm going out to pamper myself?
I don't know about to pamper myself. I do have amazing family that do sit the kids. My main thing that I enjoy and my investment in myself is that I've started acting again. So
good.
I do once a week. I do a bit of a comedy troupe thing. I've been getting some work. So that's my me time. That's my investing in my family. 100% support for that.
That is fantastic. A lot of people who go through what you went through would have ended up rock bottom in a state of depression, resorting to alcohol or drugs, but you didn't.
Yeah. I think obviously knowing that there's a purpose to things, but also forgiving yourself. I think looking back and saying, I should have done this, I should have done that, or why is this happening to me?
Yes.
You know, when you forgive yourself and you say, okay, well, I've made a mistake, but I'm on my road to, you know, doing the right thing, or yes, this is happening. Why is this happening to me? But what can I do? What can I find in this that's going to make?
Always look for the positives.
Yeah.
For some of the people viewing, whether it's males or females who are stuck in these really crappy, toxic, controlling relationships, they just wake up every day thinking, oh, I don't like this, but I'm putting up with it. What's your advice?
Just take the first step.
Yeah.
Reach out to someone, mum, sister, just reach to someone and say, I need help. I know I need to leave, but I can't do this by myself.
Yes.
Because they make you feel like you can't do anything, and that if you leave, your life's over, it's going to be destroyed. And the people that love you would already see that. And if you go to them, they'll be there.
Because quite often a lot of people in Australia, even a multicultural family, society, they can't move because financial reasons as well.
Yeah. Oh, and there are so many domestic violence and those sort of things that if you just look, if you go seek,
there is support out there.
Yeah. Even safe housing. If you tell them, they'll go, right, we'll get you out at a safe time, and they'll just, so it's never too hard. You just have to take the first step.
It's beautiful. Talk to me about gratitude and talk to me about laughter.
Okay, so I think one thing that got us all through it was just finding something to be thankful for with the kids. They were, especially the younger ones, were quite angry at the start, but we started this thing, it was talking time, and it would be, what's something that made you happy today? What's something that made you upset? What's something you learnt? And it just trained us to find thankfulness every day. And I think thankfulness is directly correlated with happiness.
Kathy, thank you so much, and I'm very thankful that you came today. It's been a great pleasure meeting you, a great inspiration. And viewers, thank you very much for the pleasure of your company. Whatever you're going through, remember, tomorrow's another day. Love and best wishes from Michael Kuzilny. See you next week.